All right. With its origin in the socialist movement, May 1st, or is it 1st of May, or is it May
May
Day,
1.
or Labor Day, was, called a day of protest for workers who would demand 8 hours of work per day, and thus the birth of Labor Day internationally. Would you
Yes.
believe that, Helen?
And so it's worth also knowing that Labor Day, or the International Workers' Days, has deep roots in the 130 years of labor movement and its effort to improve workers' conditions across the globe. So May 1 is significant in that it commemorated the Haymarket riot and aftermath of bombing at the labor strike in Chicago in 1986. Did you know that?
We're talking Chicago.
Yes.
Why don't we bring it
It's
back
all over
home?
the world.
Well, anyway, today more than 160 countries celebrate Labor Day as a work-free day. And often it's a day of parades, demonstrations, rallies, and sometimes riots in major cities around the world, basically to highlight challenges workers still encounter and push for improved labor rights.
And so here at home, like you said earlier on Sunday the 1st of May, 2022, Nigeria joined many other countries of the world to celebrate the contribution of the workforce to society. Today we intend to x-ray the tradition and its true relevance against the backdrop of life and work balance, as well as how we must deal with the horrible bosses who are out there and also some horrible employees.
Horrible bosses, horrible employees.
So I say hello and welcome to a conversation that is definitely important to almost everyone there. I'm Helen Ongma Odele. The name hasn't yet changed on.
It hasn't changed, Helen.
It hasn't.
So true, Helen. In a society where majority are employees, isolating the International Workers' Day for a robust discussion is necessary. I'm happy to be here, and I thank you for joining us on Today with John and Helen. I am John Senaya.
All right, so John, let's get right to it, shall we?
Yeah, let's dive into it, like we say. Yes, Helen, after we take a break
Okay.
to enable us to catch my breath, I don't know about your breath, we will dive into it. So don't
right.
change the channel. We'll be right back before you know it. Stay with us.
Okay, so on the show this morning, or today, the relevance and the effectiveness of the celebration of International Workers' Day is on the front burner. And especially as it relates to workers in our immediate environment. Now, what used to be when we talk about workers, and has it changed? Has anything changed? The reason for all of the agitations, have they changed over the years? How can we balance life and work? How do we deal with horrible employers and employees? And a lot more questions that we have on our
Horrible employees.
horrible employees. Terrible. There are some of them out there.
Yeah.
And employers too.
Okay. Well, anyway, our very experienced guest on this matter is already with us online.
Yeah.
And before we hit the ground, let's talk about a few things that have kept our minds ticking this week. Helen, you're usually very good with observing things
What can
around.
I think of? Okay.
So tell us, what has kept you?
Well, a lot of politicking here and there.
Yes.
I mean, you can't be in this environment now and not be, in the know of all of that. So many people coming on to be wanting to be president, wanting to be governors, and all of that, and that's politicking
that's
everywhere in season.
Yeah.
And insecurity still not abating.
Continues, yeah.
All over the country, north, east, west, and south. We're still hearing some very disturbing news.
Gory stories.
Gory stories. One very pathetic was the one, the two persons, spouse, a husband and a wife to be, from the military on their way to the east. And was it on Tuesday or Wednesday for their traditional marriage? John, can you believe it? And they were apprehended, they were abducted, and they were slaughtered.
Slaughtered. Barbaric. Barbaric.
But the good news is that the people who did it, somehow they've been, there's some investigation going on, and the military has sworn that they must find.
Back the dead?
It would never. It would
doesn't.
never. It would never.
It doesn't.
And
The ASU strike.
still on, almost more than 2 months now.
Yeah, and I hear that there are some other groups joining in.
Yeah. And
We really
and
must
Annan-
feel a lot of pity
And Nan has come in to say that there will be no primaries anywhere unless the schools, the universities are opened. I don't know what strategies they have. I don't know how they plan to do that. But yes, they have come to say,
Wow.
yes, we need to go back to school. If we don't go back to school...
We need to go back to school. We need to go back to school. And talking about which, you know, as much as I'd have loved for us to switch over to, get off all of this and switch over to our guest, I think we need to get her back online. You know, she's gone online, offline temporarily.
Okay.
And we'll get her shortly. So
I also stumbled on another news, I don't know how true it is, that the airlines are threatening to stop operation, like from Monday. Give it particular.
Helen, next week, could you give us positive news?
Okay.
It's all negative. Anyway, our guest is back. That's good news for us. Our guest is back. And of course, you know, this is Today with John and Helen. It's live on Plus TV Africa. It's a show which caters for the needs of the family. For May 1, 1st of May 1, I don't know which one to choose,
You're
or
the
the
woman.
International Workers' Day is our focus on this edition of the show.
Okay, so straight away, let's meet our guest, who is a seasoned human resource professional with a career spanning over 18 years, cutting across the finance and human resource functions within the oil and gas transportation, fabrication, heavy equipment, and power generation industry. She's gone through all of this. She's been a worker for over 18 years. Our guest is a graduate of management and accounting from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, with an MBA from the prestigious Lagos Business School.
Impressive. Well, permit me to add also that our guest, is also a certified project management and global human resource professional. She's a life coach. She enjoys mentoring young graduates and upcoming professionals. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Oshinaike has seen it all in the work arena and is here to answer our numerous questions. Welcome to Today with John and Helen.
Madam, welcome. And yes, thank you so much for joining us on the show. This should
Thank you for having me.
With all of your
And
experience.
John, John, you should get an award. You pronounced the surname quite well.
Thank you.
You're very kind.
Thank you.
He stumbled on the first day.
I'm indeed flat. I'm flattened.
But made up for it.
I'm flattened. Thank you so much. So I think for that reason I should fire the first salvo. We have loads and loads of questions for you, you know, regarding Workers' Day and all of that. Now, today's worker, you know, looks more weary, tired, stressed up than yesterday's worker. What would be the reasons behind this?
When you say today's worker and comparing to workers in the past,
Yes.
I think what has happened is that we're juggling a lot more than the workers in the past were juggling. The problems seem the same, from afar, but when you take a closer look at it, you would realize that we're juggling more than our parents were juggling back then. You agree with me that the same, let me use this example, the same level of infrastructure hasn't gotten any better. And we are still coping with life with those same infrastructures. A good example is the traffic gridlock. We have the same road network that my parents had back then. In fact, at times when I used to work in Apapa, then in 2010, and I tell my mom that I was working with Niger Dock and it was right next door to Tin Can. At times we were leaving the office and just hear don't bother today because a container has fallen across the road. And then we're trekking 2 hours and people can't come to work the next day. So I was sharing that with my mom and she was like, when I was working in that axis, it was the same story.
Would our politicians agree with you? Because they've always promised new roads, water, power. Would they agree with you?
Oh, no, you see, everybody will talk from their own perspective and everybody will tell you what they feel that you want to hear. It's for you to decide how the shoe pinches you and what you want to do about it.
That's right, yes. That's right.
Okay.
So, okay, go on.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned this Apapa axis, Lagos is very peculiar. And I was in Apapa for just last week or 2 weeks ago, after like 10 years or 6-7 years. And that madness is still there, but a little bit controlled. The big trailers are parked on one side and there's some small passage for people to move around. And so one wonders that when you're talking about workers' welfare, the worker is expected to be at work every day, except you have a saint for a bus, and then you have to go through all of this. But even at that, some people tell us today that workers of this day have more job opportunities. Would you say this is correct?
Oh, yes, I agree. You hear, I'm sure you've heard a lot of talk about the future of work. And, as a lot of people will tell you, the future of work is now. People have choices now, the choices they didn't have those days. You know why? Because of the advent of social media, because of the advancement of technology, there are options. I'll use myself as an example. With the advent of COVID in 2020, a lot of us would have said work from home is not possible. It's not an option. But even bosses that would want to micromanage you and have you in the office had to contend with the fact that there was nothing they could do about it, at least for that period of time. And working from home, a lot of people discovered that it could work better. And a lot of people, even bosses, discovered that, okay, I'm still getting what I want. But in the same vein, some other people found that they couldn't cope. They needed to be in the office.
Yeah.
And then, to digress a bit, some people found the opportunity that they could have a side hustle and actually run with it. Then they had the mind that, okay, yeah, I have an option. And they don't. And after the COVID and people started coming back to the office, they decided, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And they went with their side hustle because during that period, the side hustle had actually, gained ground and they were making a lot of money and they were thinking to themselves, trying to weigh the options. And they're like, I think I'm better off working from home. At least I don't have to report to that horrible boss. So yes, there are more options now than we had back then.
So clearly we're on the same page there. It's not for lack of options, right? The worker today has more options, more opportunities. Now we say more perspiration, less inspiration. And that appears to be the best description for the typical Nigerian worker today. He's scrambling around everywhere, but he's not inspired. What do you think? What do you really think would inspire him?
Okay. I'd like to answer this question from the perspective of a coach and a therapist. Let me share something with you. I was in the kitchen yesterday evening and my son said something, said, Mommy, he's about 9 years old. He said, Mommy, happiness, money cannot buy you happiness. I said, yes, you're right. And my first daughter goes, but Mommy, it can. And, I was trying to get her thought. I said, so what do you think? What do you need money for? I said, buy things, buy this, buy that. And I told her, I said, how many people do you know of recent that have committed suicide? And that had loads of money. Mm-hmm. And she paused. I said, think about it. Happiness is a choice. We're all faced with different various circumstances. Some people will tell you, okay, if I get this job, I'll be happy. If I get married, I'll be happy. The same way in the workplace as well. You'll get to work in some places. You might get the inspiration you need, get a good boss. Good for you. Yeah. But there are times you might find yourself in places where your boss, going to work in the morning, you're feeling depressed. Your blood pressure is going up, your heart is palpitating because you don't know what you will meet for that day. Yeah. But in the midst of it all, you tell yourself, I'm doing this because I love what I do. Or I'm doing this for this time, just for the time being. I have a plan B. So there must be something within you that brings about that inspiration. If you're looking outside for the inspiration, especially in today's world, you might have to look for a very long time.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. So many things are flying through my head as you answer. I read a piece last week where they were, bringing back the previous leaders of this country, from Awolowo, to Tafawa Balewa, to his Gowon himself. At very early age, they were matured enough to take leadership positions. They were prepared. So when we talk about the job opportunities now are more than they used to be, I'm asking, are the youth of today, are the workers actually prepared, to take these additional responsibilities that bring in more resources? That's tickling in my head. But my question for you at this point is, as a fallout of this more work and less pay syndrome, how is the typical family affected? Because this is majorly a family show.
I'm glad you asked that question. And, and when you also asked as well, the first point you raised before you asked this question, that are the youths prepared as well to even take up opportunities? The first thing that came to my mind when you made that point was that it all stems from the family units. You agree with me that a lot of the values you hold dear today and your beliefs, or whatever your belief system is today, if you take a good look at it, you'll discover that it stems from the family unit or your associations when you were growing up.
Yeah.
The psychologist will tell you that give me a child for the first 7 years of his life and he's mine forever. It's a profound statement, because a lot of the beliefs and values we work with today as individuals stems from our experiences when we were growing up, and most of it from the family unit. Now, if the family unit is not value driven, and the values also depend, that's another thing. Your value is different from my own values. Sure. But there should be a fundamental or a basic factor that runs through all the values. It's humanity. That's the most important thing. So the values you were brought up with and the values I was brought up with should, whatever they are, should all stem towards being humane towards one another. That's the key factor for me. Now, these days, because just like you said, back to your question, a lot of, because of the race, the rat race, the struggle to make ends meet, a lot of families find themselves in a position they do not want to be. But if you ask me, it's at that point in time that you should sit back and ask yourself, what is your goal in life? What are the things that you hold dear? For example, when I started my career, I knew I would be a career person. I love to work. But I told myself that family first. I remember going for an interview back then, and we finished the interview and they said, do you have any questions? After I'd asked the question, my second question was, I hope it's not compulsory for me to work weekends and to work late. And the guy looked at me. I said, no, don't get me wrong. If I have work to do, you don't have to tell me I'll work late, because I want to deliver. If I have to come in on a Saturday, if I need to, I would come. You don't have to tell me. But I don't want you to tell me it's compulsory. And the guy looked at me and said, you actually took out time to ask that question. I said, yes, because my family comes first.
Wow.
Because it was a decision I had made. And, he couldn't, the guy was wondering that. And I was like, the choice is yours if you want me or not. What are you after? Is it for me to deliver or for me to do the high service of my boss is still here, so I can't leave? No, I won't do that. Because at that point in time, I had a growing family.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't compromise it for anything. So for me, if you ask me, yes, a lot of families do have to face that struggle these days. But like I said, the choice is yours. You have to decide what's important to you, what's your priority list. And on that list, what is most paramount to you?
Yeah. But you see, I like the scenario that you painted. But it would appear that you were probably working from a position of strength. I mean, maybe your employers...
I was out of a job. John, sorry to cut in. I was out of a job at that point in time. I had just had my first child and I was out of a job for a year before I started looking for a job again.
The point I'm even trying to make is that for a lot of people, they may be too scared or,
too desperate.
Too desperate.
Not
That's
wanting
the
to lose the work, the opportunity.
Yes.
To now give those counter
conditions,
to employers. But it's the point you have made is well taken and understood, But again, we just want to look at people who may be weaker than you are, in negotiating for jobs.
Okay, John, let me come in there. You see, I've also been in that position before. And let me tell you what I did, because I've had the opportunity to move around. I tell people not by choice, but that's the way events have played out in my life, and I have no regrets. I've been home for about 2 years, and by then I had my third child. And you agree with me that in Nigeria, relying on the income of just one partner in the home for 2 years, it's a lot of struggle, because whether you have savings, you have investment, you have to start replenishing at one point in time or the other.
Yes.
And I went for the interview. Usually it's my husband that takes me for most of my interviews. So I went for the interview and I got to that place, I had the interview. And when I got into the car, I told my husband, I said, I'm not really keen about working here. And he told me, to be sincere, even looking from outside, he's not really keen about me working here. But I sat back and I looked at, what options do I have? I've been home for 2 years, and reality is, knocking at the door. I have to make a decision quick and fast.
Yes.
So I thought about it. Okay, what can I deal with? What can I not deal with? Let's start out first. But while I start out, it's the opportunity for me to even get my foot in the door first and get back into the work environment.
Yes.
And then I might start looking at other options. So I had to take that call at that point in time. Yes, I understand. There are times you need to take those decisions.
Yes. I'm sure you'll agree with me that the Nigerian worker, as a matter of fact, not just the Nigerian worker, most workers
all over the world
are hard workers. They work hard. People all over the world are working harder than ever before. But they say that the reward for hard work is more work. How can today's worker cope? His plate is full already. He's working hard already. But they now say that the reward for hard work is even more work. How so?
They say the reward for hard work is even more work. But you agree with me that if the hard work is not adding value, they won't give you more work.
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing, let's get that right.
Yes.
So if they tell me hard work, one of the line minders that told me hard work then was because I'd done very well in the assignments, the tasks that had been given to me. So I knew that it was time for more work. So we have to put it in perspective. If it's doing work that because they see that you've gotten a hang of the task and you can do better and they can challenge you, they give you more work, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if it is more work that in terms of labor, hard labor, and there are no what's the word now, no corresponding compensation in that regard, then we can say hard work, more work because you need to make more money.
Okay.
So in that instance,
Yes.
you agree with me that even if you decide that you want to do the labor work as much as possible, get to a point in time that your body will tell you, I can't go on.
Yes. Even when the compensation is there.
Thank you. So now, back to where I started from, you have to decide yourself that, okay, hard work, more work. What is it making sense to me? If you tell me hard work, more work, it will make sense to me. That means I'm delivering, I'm adding value to the system, and they're giving me more work. Hey, that's what I want to hear. Because very soon I'm going to be negotiating a higher pay or a bonus or something.
Yes.
But if it's hard work, labor work, and you're dying, oh please.
So
Let me give you a good example.
Once you get to your break even in quotes, get to your break even point, you don't want to go beyond it for nothing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let
for
me
nothing.
Let me share a story
Yes,
with you.
it's for nothing. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I had, usually in my position, head of HR, you deal with the unions at times, and if I have admin reporting to me, you also have to deal with the drivers as well. And I remember there was a time I had just resumed in a particular place, and I was looking at the overtime. Wow, it just didn't make sense.
Yes.
And I called the person that said, okay, was the head of the drivers, and I sat him down, quite elderly, much older than me anyway. And I sat him down, and I said, okay, I've done an analysis of the numbers, your hours and all that. It doesn't make sense. There's no human being that can work like this. If you do, you won't be seated in that chair in front of me. So one, and then if you feel that you're getting, you're making much more money, down the line, we would hear that, one of them had high blood pressure, he's retired, he has high blood pressure, he had a stroke, and then you're raising money, funds to get him. And I'm like, well, you know what you're doing now? You're working yourself. You're working, excuse me, let me not use the word, but you're working, let me use the head off. I wanted to use another word on one live TV. And you believe you're making the money. And then come 55, 60, they ask you to retire. And you have no use to yourself or to your family. So you have to try to balance, know when to exactly. Yes. So whether hard work, more work, it's for you to decide. Oh, you're a good driver, I want you to come. You better ask yourself, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And then you'll retire home. The family that you felt that would be there for you, you are not there for them because you spent most of the time working.
That's right.
So they're not around for you as well.
That's
So,
right.
yes, reality comes calling, and then you ask yourself, was it worth it?
Okay. Well, once upon a time in this country, maybe about 40 years or less, we knew that even before you left the university, you had jobs, not one, waiting for you. And you were a toast, People would like to give you interviews here and there, and the jobs are there with good pay. Pay that was able to take the worker home. How far do you think that today's workers' pay takes them home, even in the midst of less employment opportunities?
Does it take them
if
home?
we're using
How
that
far does
word.
it take them?
How far does it take the worker? Right, today.
I read, I think I read an article, I can't remember where, that was it only about 92%, no, about 8% of Nigerians earn 60,000 naira and above.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means a large portion earn what, just like John said, how far can the money take them? And that's why you see the advent and the embrace of side hustle. Because human nature is we'll find a way to cope.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody that say to yourself, all I can do is a honest work. I wouldn't do anything illegal. I wouldn't do anything that is immoral. You're forced to take a decision that, okay, what can I do on the side? So that's why you see that there's a rampant clamor, and people are clamoring more for side hustle, that I must have something doing on the side. This money can't take me home. And then another thing is that is not working that is not, for lack of a better way to put it, that is working against workers is the labor law. It's quite outdated.
Okay.
There are no standards or anything, regulating how people are paid. Why I say this is because I remember working in a particular organization, and I'm telling the owner of the organization that this won't work. You're telling us to pay people 50,000. Let's sit down and calculate it. The transport to and fro and the lunch they will have. What's going that the money is gone. And he goes, told you there are a lot of people out there who would jump at that offer.
Yeah. And quite frankly, that point
That's
that
a
you just
horrible-
made, yeah, that point, that's the reality of what is happening.
So, exactly. So if there's nobody regulating that, and they know that true because people are out there desperate, what would happen? People would actually jump at the offer. But like I said at the beginning, it's that the fact is that that's why you see people embracing side hustle.
Yeah.
Because they need to survive.
Yeah. And you'll even find, you'll even find husband and wife working, to earn an income. But again, there's a flip side to that coin. The home front suffers. What would even be your advice where husband and wife have to work to be able to, to meet up, but the home front suffers? What would you say
Yes,
to them? Yes.
Yes,
How do they balance it?
Okay, you've made a very valid point, and to be sincere, what we see in society today is part of the price we're paying for that, whether we want to admit it or not. That's the price we're paying for that, for those choices we've made over time. What usually helps a lot of people is the support system they have in place.
Yeah.
Now, I say that with a bit of, caution, or because when both parents have to work and put a support system in place, if the support system is not something you're comfortable with, but you have to make do with, you are not able to function well even at work. Why I'm saying this is I have a lot of people who are, even myself as well, when in a senior position, you have to have a driver because you're driving home from work, 3-4 hours traffic after the long day. You're left with no choice. I think I need to get a driver so that I don't die before my time. Secondly, you need to have a nanny for those that have young children. You need to have some other support, the general support system, whether family close by, your mom is still able to stay with you, things like that. You have to have them in place. But you agree with me that a lot of times the nannies and the drivers also are a challenge to have them in the home.
Because you have to pay them.
You have to, apart from paying them, like you said, the family as well affected. A lot of your children get their values from them.
Yes.
Because you are not home to actually be the one to teach those values.
Okay.
Now, for me, the way I coped with that was that there were certain times I had to be out of work, out of employment.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I needed to be with my children. So it was a choice I made.
Yes.
Okay.
One. Then secondly, whenever I take nannies, I usually, in fact, a lot of the nannies that worked with me are nannies that my parents engaged for me. Why? Because my mom would come in, get a nanny, and work with them for a while.
Okay.
So that was my own way of trying to, at least get somebody that shares the same values with me. Then I don't take young people. I take elderly people, women. And then I was also key about the fact that they must be able to speak Yoruba, and they must speak Yoruba to my children, because I wanted my children to speak and understand Yoruba.
Okay.
And they must be elderly so that in case anything happens at home, they know what to do immediately. So those were the choices for me in terms of a nanny, because you're coming into my home and you're staying with me in my home. Because back then, that was the choice I had to make.
Yeah,
so if I knew I was going to make that choice, let me go the extra mile of ensuring that the person I'm putting in place is someone I can have a level of trust.
Is
in.
able to
Yes.
fill your shoes, at least to a large extent. Yes.
Exactly. And then, in addition to that, I had very good support from my husband as well throughout my career. He's been very supportive.
Great.
So he gets some, maybe like 6, 7 latest, is home. And I also get to maybe around that 6, 7. They said there's bad traffic and maybe going to 8, 9.
Yeah.
So the
Interesting.
person, exactly. And then, okay, sorry, Helen, you want to ask?
It just comes across to me like that was an excellent balance. And answering John's question is like you're recommending some of these steps and strategies to a lot of mothers and families who are probably watching this program to say, if you find yourself in this position, this is probably
what
how
you
to
could
go
do,
about
yeah.
it. And for me, that makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
It does. It
Great,
does.
great. So, well, at this point, we will take a break
Oh,
Okay.
because we've gone out on the streets, we've asked a few questions, and we have some very interesting answers. So we'll go on this little break and hear what the people are saying out there.
Abraham, Moses, Jacob, you are one family.
There's no doing all this sport in Nigeria.
See how your body just dripping diamond.
My ID starting salary is 150, and I believe in every company, if they should be paying individual or average Nigerian people to be collecting that such amount of salary, I think it will be beneficial for the citizen.
I would say a typical Nigeria working on a day-to-day job, I would say my salary will be nothing less than 70 to 80,000 naira. Because of my skills, I would say I'm a professional cleaner, though I own a cleaning company, but because of my skills and everything, I would say my salary will be like, if I'm working for someone, it will be like 70 to 80,000.
Presently, our ideal salary is 100,000. My best work experience is a sales consultant, and I love the work presently, and the work is making me to have boldness to talk to people. Like, I've gone to several places that I've never been before. I've talked to people that's not even up to my caliber, and I've mingled a lot with kind of big men.
At least with the recent condition of this our country, if the minimum wage should be between a region of 60,000, at least for a start now, compared to the inflation we are facing now, the cost of living, accommodation and other charges. So at least for a start, 60,000 is not bad.
To me, probably if I say like 180,000 naira is manageable, that's as the way the country is right now. It's better than just sitting at home or for me to being frustrated and misbehaving. So instead of that, so let me just doing it. At least I can see at the end of the day, I won't be able to save anything down. I'll be able to use it to eat. That's all.
If you pay me 1 billion naira, I will not mind. If you pay 1 million a week, I will not mind. But the point remains, we are running an economy that ought to have grown. I don't belong to the class that say a growing economy. We ought to have grown. We are an overfed baby as far as Nigerian economy is concerned. Howbeit, given the society we are in today, some of the boys, I call them boys, at the National and even the State Assembly, and close to 2-3 million naira a month. So for some of us who've paid our dues, especially in the media, if going by the standard of living in this country today, 1 million naira will not be a bad idea.
My ideal working salary has been from 200 to 400 to get, and that's what I prefer to always get from any company, because I'm always a strategist. I render solutions to companies on how the company can move ahead as well there.
Abraham, Moses, Jacob, you are one family.
There's no doing all this sport in Nigeria.
See how your body just dripping diamond.
Okay, we thank you so much for being with us on the show so far. This is the Family Center show on Plus TV Africa, and we call it Today with John and Helen. And on today's show, we are looking at the welfare of the workers, which is of very, very big interest to us, against the background that this is a family-centered program. If you would notice, we have deliberately left agitations out of it. You know, the labor war between the labor unions and government, and all of those rights, because our emphasis is on how do we get the workers in a better place so that the family also can move forward.
Yes.
All right, so that's deliberate. Ona, our guest is still there? Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for hanging in there with us.
Yes.
All right, John?
And thanks for your advice. You know, I've been rolling a lot of those things in my head since you spoke.
Okay.
And I think at this point we'll just move into, you know, talking about.
Bosses?
Yes, actually, we should talk about. We talk about horrible bosses
and the workers.
It's something that Helen has
Yes.
repeatedly hammered on.
Yes,
Even right from the beginning of this program. So nobody wants a horrible boss.
Nobody does. Nobody also wants a horrible worker.
So who is a horrible boss?
And do we have them?
Yes, we have horrible bosses. The same way, like you said, we have horrible employees. But if there's anything, one of the things I took away from business school was the fact that when you're trying to analyze a case study or assess a situation, it's always good not just to look at the symptoms, but to look at the underlying factors, the root causes. I'm saying this because what you would term a horrible boss will be different from what I would term a horrible boss. And by virtue of experience and over the years also being a boss myself, I've learned that two things are very, very key. Let me start with one first. We have to learn to be empathic. And I say that because a boss that is horrible, I don't believe everybody sets out to be horrible. This is my own way of, understanding the situation and coping with it.
Yeah.
There's something usually driving that person. Now, it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to get to that point, to realize that. But having said that, on the flip side, yes, they're horrible bosses. And some of them is by virtue of the fact that they're dealing with one thing or the other. Some dealing with it and don't know how to handle it, and they take it out on you at work. And some, it's because of the pressure they are also getting from above, and they don't know where to, pour it out, and they pour it out on you. They don't know where to vent. They would rather, use you as their, what's the word now? They will take it out on you. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. They will take it out on you. Having said that, we also advise people as well, if you have a boss, I remember I had a presentation once on managing your boss.
Okay.
If you have a horrible boss, it will be good to try to understand what that boss is experiencing, really, if you can. Because I've discovered that most of them, like I said, it really stems from what they've been through, what they're going through at that point in time. The pressures from home, the pressures from work, it can be from anywhere. And once you start with that first, it helps you to begin to look for a way out to work with that person. And I'll also be the first to admit, having said that there'll be some that you won't be able to cope with, no matter what tactics you use.
Yeah.
Whatever you've learned, psychology, EI, whatever you use, there's still horrible people. In that instance, you might need to take like I said, judgment call and decide what you want to do.
Okay, and I'm thinking, does the disposition of the boss or the employer or the employee, is it hinged on work ethics? Because a lot of workers are just looking for jobs, but they are almost like totally ignorant of what it takes to be a good worker and to add value, like you said, at some points. So could this attitude, horrible or otherwise, be based on the knowledge of both parties on the work ethics? What is really expected in a proper workplace between the boss and the employee in terms of relationship?
Okay. A very good question. You agree with me that we have a lot of companies, some established, some not established. The established ones, the big ones, have structures in place. They have you get to join some companies and you're taken through the onboarding process and you're told about the work ethics in that particular company. We do this, we don't do this, we have regards for others, we're open-minded, we embrace diversity, they give you all that and then we don't do this. They have the ethics policy and they're very big on it and they will tell you if you do this, these are the repercussions. But for a lot of places that are not that structured, the work ethics is determined by whoever is in charge. Whoever has the say and whoever is calling the shot or whoever pays the money, pays the salary. So inevitably, the work ethics is usually determined by the culture in place within leadership. I tell people if I want to know the things that the culture in a place, just give me 30 minutes to 1 hour with the leadership in that place. I can tell you what the culture of that place is.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't.
Because people watch them to be able to tell you what is accepted and not accepted. I worked in a place once, the owner of the place will go, "Oh, Mrs. Oshinaike, there's so much indiscipline in this place," blah, blah, blah. And I think to myself, it stems from you.
True.
Yeah.
Because they're watching what you're doing yourself and they're taking a cue from you that this is accepted.
Yeah.
So when you talk about work ethics, it's a function of the company and most importantly, the leadership as well. What message are they sending out by what they condone, what they do themselves? It's a bigger message than your policies, even if you have them at all.
Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Oshinaike, you know what? I work in your company, but I can't choose my boss.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're stuck with some bosses who would rather not have. I can't choose my boss, but my boss can choose me. So how does one manage a horrible boss? Because you don't have it, you're stuck.
Okay. But at times, let me also tell you that at times you can't choose who you work with.
Yeah.
Employees at times.
True. Yeah.
As
People
a
like
line manager, you can.
Yeah.
people are thrown at you. Yeah.
That's
Posted
right.
to you.
Take
That's
over
right.
a role and you have them reporting to you.
Yes. So when you're
Okay, to
stuck,
answer your question.
yes.
To answer your question anyway. For me, these are one of the things that have helped me, like I said earlier, is one, I need to be first of all self-aware myself. Is it something I'm doing that is making the person a horrible boss? At times, it just might be. That's one, I need to be self-aware. Then also, I need to have empathy. Empathy is, okay, what is in this position, I see what my line manager is going through. I hear, the backlash he gets from whether the board or something. How can I help him in that situation? Now, anybody, your first job, I tell people your first job and your job description is to make your boss look good.
Okay. To make your boss look
good.
Look good.
Wow.
That whether we might, some people might, the jury might be out on that in some cases, some school of thought to tell you no. But for me, for my years of experience and having worked with about 10 bosses or more, 10 line managers,
Yeah.
it is your first job is to make them look good.
Wow.
You will agree with me that you can't have a team member or a direct report that makes you look good and is adding value to you and you want the person to leave, except you have issues yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're doing all that, like I said, you're self-aware, you're sure it's not you, you're taking a look at what he's going through and you try to be helpful in one way or the other, then you might begin to look at your other options. But first and foremost, let's take a step back and not just assume this guy is horrible. He's horrible there must be something behind it. And if you can't fathom it, your job is not to counsel him or to make him any better. Then you might need to take a walk for your own sanity.
Yes. Of course.
All right. And perhaps in addition to making your boss look good so that the work environment will be conducive for everybody to achieve results, is performance also a part of this? Is it key in any work environment? and being horrible, does it have anything to do, with bosses driving you towards achieving results?
Good you raised that point. There's a particular industry we all know, I won't mention, but the feedback from that particular industry, especially in Nigeria, is that they have a lot of horrible bosses by virtue of the fact that they have numbers to deliver. The boss is under pressure. He needs to bring in the numbers, and he transfers that pressure to his team members. And then you see, another thing is, if you've applied something and you see that it works, you continue to use it if you don't.
If you see that it works.
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you put pressure on somebody to bring in the numbers for you, and you see that person deliver in that particular quarter, you feel that that's the what's the word now? That's the
magic.
Yes, that's what makes it work. So why don't I continue using it?
Yeah.
But you see, you don't just think of the short term. You think of at the end of the long run, not in the long run. At the end of the long run, it usually does backfire.
And that's a very key point you just made, because the boss has to deliver on the numbers.
To another boss, and the bosses along
to another boss, or maybe to another boss. Now, bosses have to perform, because they already have, they will be judged or marked by their performance. Okay, do they have to be nice? Do bosses have to be nice? I don't have to be nice to get my results.
When you use the word nice,
very pregnant.
In our local parlance is more like somebody that I'm so nice that you can walk all over me. So we need to be careful.
What nice?
Use the word nice.
How nice is nice?
For me, from my own experience and the way I've worked with people that reported to me, the word is not being nice for me. The word is being kind.
Kind.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. The word is being. So, I keep using that word, and it's intentional. The word is being empathic.
Empathic.
The basis of humanity, if we go back to it, is to be kind and empathic towards one another.
Okay.
You see a lot of, I'm going to digress a bit, but you see a lot of skits, that go around, and people are like, oh, please, I need $1 here. I need some money here. I missed the train. Could you help me? And you discover that it's the homeless people, or the people that do not have much, that are usually the ones that are willing to do out of the little they have. You know why? Because they've experienced lack. So they are willing to actually give.
Wow.
Than somebody who has a lot. Now, if you are a boss and your employee comes in late today, okay, oh, you came late, what happened? Oh, traffic and all that. You let it go. It happens a second time, it happens a third time. What you should be reaching out for is not query.
Okay.
It's not. It is to call the employee in and ask, it's unlike you, what's going on? Are you sure everything is okay?
Well, that's been nice.
That's been kind. That's been emphatic. That's been kind.
I'm being very careful because I want people to understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, it's a thin line, really. It's a thin line.
It's a thin line. That's why I chose the word kind. So you see, that kind of person would feel that, okay, you truly care. And then you ask, what can we do? Okay, do you need some time off? Or you need to come in, okay, you can come in 10 a.m. for the next few days to get yourself together, or you need some time off, or why do you think I can come in? That is being kind, and that is being empathic. You know why? Because I know that at times I might come in late because of traffic. I might come in late because my children are ill. So that's if we can practice that, regardless of what the structure is within the company, regardless of what social media tells us, regardless of the pressures here and there, if those two things guide you, whether as a boss or even as an employee, you'll be better off.
That's right.
I can align with you here, because in my work days, I've worked with hardliners as bosses, and I mean it, bosses who were like, Helen, if I call you at 12 midnight, you must know that it is important, and you need to get to my phone and pick up your phone and speak with me, whether you're in bed with your husband or not. It gets that bad. But the same boss will call you in the morning and say, Helen, how are you today? How's the family? Last week you said one of your children, was down. How is he now? How is she now? How is the vehicle? I know she goes all the way and is like the flip side. And so you're able to balance, and really you can't call the boss a horrible boss.
A horrible boss.
But when the job needs to be done, it needs to be done. And she is a human being. And we just needed to gravitate with that. And that was reality for me. So I can align with what you just said. Nigeria just joined the rest of the world to celebrate again another May 1, International Workers' Day. Right here in Nigeria, I don't know how many states have implemented even the minimum wage of just 30,000 a month for the workers. I don't know where we are at this moment. Nigerian workers and government and lives fulfillment and lives balance and all of that. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, that's my question.
And what's the question?
The question is like, we just celebrated another Workers' Day. Is it just ceremony? Is it just tradition? What has changed? Even as small as 30,000 minimum wage, a lot of the state governors are yet to implement it.
And I act like a true Nigerian here.
Yes, please.
And be in character. We Nigerians answer questions with questions. Ellen, what do you think? John, what do you think?
You're the expert here.
I think
it's like, where do we go from here?
I think we addressed this earlier when we talked about how far would your
it's not taking you home, but I'm looking at...
Yes, so I don't think most Nigerian workers are getting home.
They're not?
In quotes,
yeah.
Based on what they are taking home. Right, so maybe that will answer your question.
Because she threw the question back at me.
She threw it back at us.
So you're trying to... No, seriously, because we had rallies, we had march pasts, and every year the labor leaders will troop to the national stadium in whatever state, and the ceremony goes on. But really, how much of impact does it have on the workers at the end of the day?
We're all just putting up a charade, really, if you ask me.
Okay.
A lot of us at our wit's end, especially the workers at the receiving end. Okay. And if you get to a point when you've done all the rigmarole and you don't even know what to do next, you just go with the flow. So it's a very bad place to be, a place you don't want to be, but that's where we find ourselves right now in Nigeria, especially with the labor force, with the labor generally. Remember, I alluded to the fact that the labor law is outdated.
Yeah.
You read through it and you're like, in what day and age is this applicable? But you still have no choice, because when you get to court, it's still that labor law that will be used. That's what will be resorted to, in judging a case, alongside other documents or evidences placed before the judge. But so if we do not address those issues, we're just, like I said, we're just rigmaroling. So we'll do the emotions, it's parade day, we get the public holiday, hey, I get to rest, and then we go to get to do the parade. Then the governor maybe doles out money to the unions for them to do one thing or the other, and then we're back to square one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you ask me, I wish I had the remedy, but I don't.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, what you've given us is enough soothing balm.
Yes, it is. It is. But I'm asking, do we need soothing balm? That's my point of view. Well, we have learned so much from you today on the program, and we just hope that professionalism and the right attitude will take center stage as we talk of employees and employers. And once again, we thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
John,
you for
your
having
thank you.
me.
I don't know where to start from, but I feel so fulfilled after hearing all of the tips and the way she's delivered them. She hasn't made it
Effortlessly.
look. Hasn't
She's
made it
HR,
look
remember?
so horrible as our horrible employers.
Okay.
So I want to thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
madam.
having
Thank you.
me,
Thank you.
John and Helen. But I would like to also reiterate again that wherever we find ourselves and whatever positions we find ourselves, let those two things be our guide. Be kind and be empathic.
Okay.
That's the least you can do to show that you're human. Thank you for
You heard that. Be kind to me. Huh? After today.
I heard that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's time to take another break. All right. It's Today with John and Helen on Plus TV Africa. We hope that we have made some sense, to the subject of today. Let's take a quick break and then the show continues after that.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel and welcome to Tech Talk on Today with John and Ellen. This aspect of the show is where we give you tips of what you can do on the online space to kind of like advertise your business or build a stronger online presence for your business. Now, many business owners have websites. You listening to me now might have a website for your business already, which is fantastic. Like, it's a good thing to have a website, right? But one thing that many business owners don't know about is search engine optimization, SEO. And like, if you have not heard of SEO before, it's fine. Possibly because maybe the person that developed your website for you didn't tell you about it. Now, as a content manager myself, I understand the pressure a lot of developers, content developers, website developers are under to just finish a job and hand it over and they forget about it, which is what most people do anyway when they want to build a site. Once they just collect the brief, they build the site and hand it over to you. They don't mention anything about SEO. But you see, without SEO, it's as good as you not even having a website, because that website will not rank on Google. Now, what is SEO? SEO simply means search engine optimization. It is a step-by-step process of optimizing a website to rank on Google, for Google to recognize that website and be able to rank it when someone searches for something relating to what that website is all about. Say, for example, you have a private school, for instance, and your private school has a website, right? Good. So someone should be able to search for something relating to child education, something relating to child care, and your website should come up in that search, even though they didn't exactly search for the name of your school, right? That simply means that your website is search engine optimized. But many web developers don't do that. Some don't even know it. Some don't know how to do it. Some agencies just know how to build websites and that's all. You see, but one of the things you can do to improve your sales online is to have a website that is search engine optimized, because it's not only on social media that people do business. People do business on Google as well. People locate businesses on Google as well. Google is the biggest search engine in the world, right? So before people make purchases, before people buy stuff, people use Google to get most of their information. And if you have a website that is optimized to rank on Google, to appear when people search for related words, related phrases, to your business, you are going to most likely make more sales through your website. Because when somebody clicks on your website and they get good information, they might want to check out other aspects of your website, which is like generating a lead. Having a search engine optimized website can help you generate leads, and those leads can be converted into sales later. So that is one of the usefulness of having a website that is search engine optimized. And search engine optimization is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. You don't stop optimizing your website. It's not something that you just do once and then forget about it. So it's an ongoing process, and you need a professional to help you handle that if you really are serious about having an active online presence for your business. So that is my own tip for today. See you same time next week on TED Talk on Today with John and Helen.
Hello everyone and welcome to the fitness section of today's show. Again, I'm Dolly Phillips and we're at Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1. As you can see, I've got my trusty stool here and I need you to grab a big bottle of water or a big bottle filled with sand or a water bottle, anything that carries some weight because we're going to be working hard today, all right? So, as always, let's start with our quick warm-up. Deep breath in and out and in and out. Two more, in and out. Last one, in and out. Extend those legs, reach down, 1 and up. Again, 2 and up. 2 more and up. Last one and up. Shoulder rolls back, 4, 3, 2 and 1 and forward, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Shake, 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 shake it up and let's start. So our first workout is top and tail. We're going to push the weights up and down to the floor. And your time starts now. Come on, let's go. And up. Good. Down to the floor. Make sure your body follows that weight. Keep your focus forward so you stay concentrated, yeah? As opposed to dizzy. Come on, focused. That's it. Up. Good. And down. Try not to look down. One more. And time. Now, this is hard. We're going to use one hand to do exactly that same workout. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. We're going up first. Let's go. Up, down to the floor. Awesome. Up, down to the floor. Engage those abs. Squeeze those abs so that they're involved in that workout. All right? A few more here. Good. Last 2. And time. Good job. Switch to the other side. Are you ready? We go in 3, 2, and 1. We're pushing up first. Come on. Let's go. Up and down. Again, I can look down because I'm pretty focused. But if looking down makes you feel dizzy, don't look down. Just look straight at me. That's it. Let's go. Keep those shoulders firm, abs tight. Let's do 2 more. 1 more, and time. All right, now, we're going to pass the weight under our legs. So we're going to have to lift up. Are you ready? Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Push it up. Other side. Push it up. Pass it through. Push it up. Now we're engaging those abs big time because those legs are coming up, yes? We're going to do 2 rounds of this because it's super effective. Last one, and time. Let's wait for it. Catch your breath. We're going to do that one again. Come on. Get ready. Weight in hand. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Pass it through. Push it up. Pass it through. Push it up. Try not to lean back. Stay upright. So we really use those abs. Come on. That's it. Back nice and straight. That's always a good thing. Protect your spine. 1 more, beat the time, and awesome. All right, knees together. We're going to push up and down this way. This is our abs crunching here as we go down. Remember this. Up and down. Push your body forward. Up. We're crunching. That's it. Up and down to the toes. Focus. 1 more. Awesome. Deep breath in. Under the legs. Big hug. 1 more. In. Under the legs. Big hug. Excellent. Shoulder rolls back for 4. We work those arms seriously today. And forward. Good. Now we're going to do a tricep stretch. So here, and pull the elbow. Now bend so you get that side stretch as well. Awesome. Other side. Good. Touch the small of your back, grab the elbow and pull. Bend over as well. 3, 2, 1. And down. Knees to the chest. Awesome. Stretch. And down. Knees to the chest. Extend. Nice hamstring stretch there. And down. Deep breath in. And under, big hug. In, under, big hug. And we're done. Awesome. That was great. So, thanks for joining me. See you next time.
Okay, thank you so much to Dolly Phillips on the Keep Fit segment. That's our coach there, and Emmanuel Atta, who took us round and through the Tech Talk. Thank you both. Okay, John?
Okay, John.
Yeah, okay, John.
Yeah,
Your
it's time
turn.
for our nuggets, our public speaking nugget. And today I have quite an interesting one for you, and I want you to listen carefully. The nugget for today: it's good to choose your topic, but it's better for the topic to choose you.
Wow.
Helen, think about it. Now, most of the time, we give topics to people, guest speakers, and all of them, to speak, right? Sometimes we say to them, oh, please pick a topic. That's not doing any justice to the speaker.
If they have to pick their topics.
Pick any topic.
Any topic, okay.
Pick any topic. Doesn't do justice to it.
Okay.
So we are looking for square pegs and square holes. Okay? If you identify a guest speaker and you know what he is good at, or what his forte is, give him a topic that he can speak on. So you let the topic find him. You pick your topic and get a speaker that can do justice to that topic. Don't say to a speaker, pick any topic of your choice. Okay? So it's good for you to pick your topic, but it's better for the topic to pick you.
Okay. But isn't that what we normally do? You have a seminar, for example.
Yes.
And based on the area you're focusing on, you begin to go in search of someone who's got value to give in that area.
Not all of the time.
And that's what you're saying we should do.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're okay.
I'm insisting that we get the right topic that fits. You get the right person for the topic.
Because I see
rather than throw it open.
I see that if we do that, it's a two-edged sword. You will get the speaker to do his best, and you'll get the listener, to get value.
Yeah. You see, what happens at most events is that we choose the speaker because we want to leverage on the mileage that the speaker's personality will give us. But we do not attach a topic that speaker is well versed on.
Okay.
Is it in or on? Right? Okay. So the point again is that yes, it's good for that speaker to pick a topic, but it's better for the topic to pick him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who's speaking.
Okay.
The important thing is that the topic is properly dealt with.
Okay.
And
pretty much, I guess that's what we do here every week.
That's what we do here.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
And that's why I've chosen you, Helen. So that's the nugget for today. Of course, remember that the nugget is featured every week.
Yes.
On this segment on Today with John and Helen.
Okay. And I won't be doing any advertising for John. No further advertising for you. Okay. We have thoroughly enjoyed today's show. Today with John and Helen from Plus TV Africa. And as workers, you know, when we remember that so much happened on the 1st of May, we just thought we should also add our voices. And I think we've done a good job. Do you think we have done a good job? Then we are sure that you will join us again, same time next week, Saturday morning, first outing. And then at 10:30 Saturday night, second outing, first repeat. And 9:30 Sunday morning, second repeat. And of course, we are on YouTube, the entire show. So you cannot say you haven't watched today's show. Go to any of these platforms and please get all of the information that the guest has given us today. Brilliant, brilliant conversation. Next week, there's a topic that's demystifying sexuality.
Sex and sexuality. I'm waiting for that one.
Okay, I am too. Yeah. We may be dealing with that, or if something better just pops up. Like, you know, a lot of the time some current matters just pop up and we drop what we have planned. So we flow with what's going on.
I would have preferred you wore the red dress next week.
Danger, Abby. All right, so we're done.
So that'll be it for today. Thanks so much for being there for us.
And from me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you to these brilliant guys who are here every time with us. The directors, the producer of this show, the camera guy. You guys are just excellent workers. All right? Thank you. And we'll see you again on Saturday next week. Bye for now.
Top political presidential contenders for 2023 general elections. First, we have Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Focus on issues and be ready to serve Nigeria. It's all about service.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Nigerian and a founding member of the All Progressives Congress. He served as the governor of Lagos State from 1999 to 2007 and earlier as senator for Lagos West in the Third Republic. Tinubu became an activist campaigning for the return of democracy as part of the National Democratic Coalition Movement, NADECO. He returned after Abacha's death in 1998 and the beginning of the transition to the Fourth Republic. His terms as the governor of Lagos State have been marked as attempts at modernizing the city. After his term, Tinubu has retained his status as one of Nigeria's most influential politicians, as his allies often filled high offices. On the 10th of January 2022, Tinubu announced his intention to run for the position of president in the 2023 general elections. Another candidate is Rotimi Amechi.
I will cause the amendment of the Constitution working with the National Assembly so that we can put the traditional rulers in the Constitution. You have a role to play in the insecurity.
Rotimi Amechi is a Nigerian and the current Minister of Transportation under President Muhammadu Buhari. He served as Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly from 1999 to 2007 before taking up the governorship role in Rivers State, thereafter ending his tenure in the year 2015. To kickstart his political career, Amechi was appointed as the Secretary of the National Republican Convention in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State between 1992 and 1994. He also served in different positions, including Special Assistant to the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Peter Odili, and Rivers State Secretary of the Democratic Party of Nigeria's Caretaker Committee during the transition program of General Sani Abacha. On the 9th of April 2022, Amechi declared an interest to contest in the presidential election. Another candidate is Nyesom Wike.
Give me this to do. Let me return power to PDP.
Ezenwo Nyesom Wike is a Nigerian politician and a lawyer who is the sixth and current governor of Rivers State. He is an Ikwere from Romeo Ebirokum in Abio Akpo, Rivers State. He is a member of the People's Democratic Party. He attended Rivers State University of Science and Technology. Wike was elected as an executive chairman of Abia Akpo local government area from 1999 to 2007. He was appointed Minister of State for Education on 14 July 2011 and was later appointed Acting Minister of Education after Mrs. Rukayato was sacked. He later resigned before finishing his term to campaign for Governor of Rivers State. In 2014, he won the Rivers State People's Democratic Party primary, defeating Dakuku Peter side of the All Progressives Congress APC, and Tony Princewill of the Labour Party in the April 11 gubernatorial elections to emerge as governor. In April 2022, he announced his intention to run for the People's Democratic Party nomination for President of Nigeria in the 2023 presidential election. Next on the list is Peter Obi.
The children will be in school. We will pursue the country. We'll move in the right direction.
Peter Obi is a Nigerian politician and he was the former governor of Anambra State, serving from 17th of March 2006 to 2nd of November 2006, from February 9, 2007 to 29th of May 2007 after his impeachment was overturned. Although a fresh election was held on 29 April 2007, he was reappointed